Hi, I'm Wade from Thoroughbred Diesel. Today we're going to be diagnosing a TCM failure on a 2010 Duramax truck, and we're also going to be installing a Synapse Remanufactured TCM. So the 2010 truck behind me belongs to a neighbor and a good friend of mine. And he called me a couple weekends ago and was telling me something about some of the problems that he was having with his truck. And I got to be honest with you, I'm an old school guy. I always throw the same thing at an Allison and say, hey man, start with an NSBU switch. But I really didn't, I'd said that kind of in passing. But I also told him, hey, we need to check a few things because with these later model Allison trucks, TCM failures are a very, very common thing. And I got to be honest with you, here in the last couple of years, and I think that this became more noticeable to us in the aftermarket sector. It became more noticeable to us when the Allison or when the TCM supply, particularly in the T14 and the A50 modules, dried up. We went through a few months back in the spring and summer of this year where a lot of the shops that we have here at Thoroughbred Diesel, a lot of them just had trucks just piling up in the lot and they could not get their hands on TCMs. So good companies like Synapse started scrambling to get an answer to this, because GM wasn't telling us when they were going to get TCMs in our hands, and we had thousands upon thousands of trucks just trucked down. So enter Synapse with their remanufactured TCM, and Synapse does an excellent job with their remanufacturing of electronic components. We lean on them for a lot of components that we carry here at Thoroughbred Diesel. They do thickums for us. They do remanufactured actuators for our Dodge turbos that we sell. They've been big time hits from them. We consider the guys at Synapse friends of ours. They flew down here years ago, just popped in the shop on a whim, and we've been carrying them ever since then. So when this truck came up and my friend called me about it and went down and did some diagnosing on it, I immediately texted one of the guys at Synapse. I was like, hey man, I think we've got a perfect candidate for a TCM failure here. Let's get this video rolling. So this truck, I really feel what we're going to show you in our diagnosis of this is going to be a very, very cut and dry TCM failure. So I don't know that you're specifically going to get one is this easy to pick up on and this easy to diagnose, but we're going to give you some of the hardline failures that we see when we're diagnosing on these trucks in the TCM failures. And we're going to introduce you to a product by Synapse that is going to be an excellent alternative to the TCMs. If you've got a breakdown here, a cost-effective and a better TCM that you're getting, the better TCM that came off the shelf that came on the truck originally. So let's get into our diagnosis. And before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what the symptoms are on this truck. So like I said, this is going to be a cut and dry TCM failure here. So when he called me with the failure on this truck was throwing the U0101 code, which is loss of communication with the TCM. He had lost the Prindle, which is the line that shows you your indicator between park, reverse, neutral, drive, and manual, hence Prindle. We had lost that, and the truck was locked in third gear. So it was almost like a limp mode type of a situation. The truck would not shift out of gear and started in a higher gear. So those type of things are very, very cut and dry. Lost communication with the TCM, and the lost communication, what we're going to show you, doesn't necessarily have to mean that we've had a failed TCM. So we're going to give you some checks to make sure that you've got everything that you need that's feeding into the TCM. And if those things check out, you can pretty much rest assured that you've got a TCM failure. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to show you what you're going to see with your dash when you have no communication with the TCM. So when the truck's communication falls away with the TCM, it's going to throw code, and we're going to show you that. But we're going to want to show you what's going on inside the dash here. So we talked about the Prindle not being lit up. That's the park, reverse, neutral, and drive. You can see that the bar is not underneath of that right now. When that goes away, that's usually an indication no communication with the TCM. In this instance, in this failure mode, and then you're also going to get that parking brake light will be on and the ABS light will be on. Drivability wise, you'll go to put the truck in drive. It'll be stuck in whatever gear it is. I keep calling it third. So it will move forward. It will go into reverse. When it goes into this truck, particularly when it goes into reverse, it wants to hit pretty hard, go into drive. You can drive it. You can get yourself off of the side of the road. I mean, 2,500 RPMs with the 373 gears. The truck's running like 40 miles an hour. So, it can get you, if you're on the side of the road with your family or something, you're stuck, get off the side of the road, but we don't suggest that you continue to drive the truck. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna fire the laptop up. Adam and I are gonna swap places. We're gonna show you the code set that comes in here, and then I'm gonna show you checking out the pinout on the TCMs to make sure that you are, that the TCM is dead. All right, so we want to show you the computer checks that we did, scanner checks that we did. Like I said, this is my neighbor's truck. Call me, transmission issues, blah, 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 blah. So first thing I did, took my EFI Live down there, went through a few checks on the truck. So I was looking for, the first thing I did is I went to check the actual TCM codes that were in the truck. So I went over and tried to connect with the TCM, and this is what I got. So this is the auto detect screen on EFI Live. A lot of you guys aren't going to have this. Some of you have, but you're going to see it. So you can do an auto detect on here, and this will come up with the correct ECM and then the correct TCM number. So when you go through on your selections, when you do your scan, you'll know exactly, hey, this is an E35B or a T14 or A40 TCM. But it didn't come up with the TCM. It didn't show me, so it was kind of an unknown controller there. So I knew then. I said that's a little bit weird. It didn't recognize that controller. So now if you're in a scanner mode with this and you go to connect with the scan, it says it has no communications. That's what you're going to get. So then I came over and I just did a complete code scan. Let me reconnect to the truck. I want to disconnect here, and I'll reconnect here real quick. Let me ECM interface cable. This thing's been giving me trouble all day. Okay, so we're connected up with the ECM right now. We're just going to do just a normal everyday code scan. And we're going to show you the codes that are going to come up here. Sorry about the speed here, folks. All right, so this is the big one we're looking for right here. The U0101, lost communication with the TCM. And the U0101, lost communication with the TCM. That's all that we had, the lost communication with the TCM. So what we're going to want to do here is the first thing that you want to do inside this is you want to make sure that you've got your constant power source to your TCM and your switch power source to the TCM. The switch power source is very, very important because what we're finding in the Chevrolets is the switch power source can fall away for bad key switch, broken wire, whatever that is. So that could be something that you're having. But you want to check your constant power, your constant ground, of course, and then your switch power. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take you out and show you where the TCM is located. We're going to back probe those. We're going to check for those values, and then we're going to go ahead and install our Synapse TCM. This is, like I said, again, this is a very cut and dry case, but you're going to want to make sure that you get underneath the truck, check the wiring to the transmission, make sure you don't have any cut wires or anything of that nature. You're going to want to do a really good check on the wiring harness to the TCM underneath the hood. Make sure you don't have any chaffed wires there or chafed wires there or any wires broke through or anything like that. If you have a problem, don't just throw a TCM on it. You want to make sure that you go through and get these values that we're showing, that you're seeing, that we're going to show you to make sure that you, yes, have and indeed have a TCM failure. Again, this was pretty cut and dry. Hope that yours is this easy, but if not, don't just go throwing TCMs at it. Make sure you figure out what's going on here. All right, so we're going to show you getting the TCM up to where you can get access to it, and you can test your voltages coming into it. So the TCM is held on by one push pin in the radiator shroud here to hold the TCM up, and then it's got a little quick clip on the other side of it here. I don't know how else to say it, that it just pops away from. So we're going to show you. I've already converted this one over to a Christmas tree pin because I've already been in here testing all these voltages, so I've already got that loose and ready to come out here. So, and to get it loose over on this side, you would have just pushed that. Once you get the push pin out of it, just push that and let it come past. Then you can stick it right past your positive battery cable there, and there you are. So we are key off right here, so we are good to go. But what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set this up to where we can get access to our wires. And I'm just going to, the thing that you're wanting to do here is you really want to make sure that you keep it away from that positive. And the more I sit here and think about it, the more I sit here and think, hey, I didn't make sure I do that. So let me lay something on that positive post to where if the middle portion of that box makes contact with it, we're not going to have big old spark. So to trip this, and what I'm doing is I'm tripping it. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gain access to the case where I can take the case top off and then I can back probe in here. So you've got your emergency lock that's on it right now, okay? So you just want to pull that back, and then you will trip the latch by pushing it on the center of it like so, and then you can pull your latch straight back like such. And what this is going to do is this is actually going to disengage it from the TCM itself, but all I needed it to do was back up enough to where I can get to these two tabs and pop those tabs off so I can back probe my wires. This is not the correct tool to use on this, so kind of going to fumble through it. There we go. So I got my wire cap off, and then same thing on the back side here. Get a little bit of a thinner blade here, Adam. Okay, so then that'll give us access to getting that cover off, like so. And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to get access to the pins, and you can get access to the pins scooting that down, just like so. So now you've got your TCM out. You can lock the TCM back down to where it makes engagement to the TCM so you get the correct readings on everything. So now all you'll have to do is you'll have to get a pin out. I suggest using your pin outs from like an all data or something of that nature. And again, you're going to be looking for your constant power sources here, and then your switch power sources. So we're going to show you back probing those and catching those readings, and then we're going to go ahead and swap this TCM out and get our new Synapse TCM in and get ready to get this truck back on the road. All right, so I wanted to show you wiring on these TCMs. And listen, this is a 2010 truck, so I've got the wiring schematic on it, so I know exactly what is my constant power wire, my switch power wire, and my ground. Two sets in this. I don't know what every different platform, but I'll just tell you, best thing to do is download your make and model truck from like an all data, Chilton's online, whatever it is, so you can get wiring schematics, because without wiring schematics you don't know what you're looking for here. So let me show you where the switch wire, the constant power wire, and the ground wire is, and I'll show you getting some readings on these. Again, this is back probing. So our pink wire with a white tracer right here, this wire, this is our switched wire, and this is pin number 1 in our wiring schematic. And then beside of this, almost to the end right here, this black with a white tracer wire, this is our ground. And then this red wire right here, this is our constant power. We have that series again on the bottom. We have red for constant power, black for our ground, and pink for a switched ignition wire. Remember what I said about your switched ignition power coming in here. Switched ignition power on the Duramax is very, very critical because again, we see bad key switches all the time, and that could be a loss of power. So we're back probing these pins. I'm going to check this. I've already been through all this, but I'm just going to show you kind of back probing this, what we're looking at here, Adam. I hope you can see the voltmeter. I'll move it to where you and the people at home can. So we're going to catch a ground here. So we've got 12 volts at our switched wire. So we're good to go there. I'll just reach over here and I'll check my constant power too. You don't want to go jibbing and jabbing on here. You got 12 volts there. You'll want to check your ground too, so just switch over and put it on the ground, and then check to your positive meter on your positive post on your battery, and that should show your ground. I've checked all these. All my powers are good, all my inputs. This switched wire, you want to watch for this voltage to drop too. Really, really want to be conscious of that, because again, you start 12 volts, start having 12 volts to start, and then eventually it'll start falling out to 5 and so on. So switched wire to start there, all is good here. So what we're going to do now, we know our inputs are good. We know that, hey, everything says this TCM should be a working TCM, but we've got no communication with this TCM. Our inputs are correct, so we're going to go ahead and deem this to be a bad TCM. We're going to switch out, show you our Synapse product. We're going to go ahead and shut down here for just a minute, get the positive wires off of our battery, and get those isolated. I don't want to unhook that until I do that, and then we're going to go ahead and install our Synapse TCM. All right, just a quick swap out of the TCMs, and we're not going to, the second part of this video, the owner of Synapse is going to come out. He's going to have a sit down talk with us and show us about what they do different on the rebuilding of these TCMs. But this is our Synapse TCM here. These are pre-programmed, ready to go inside the truck. All you provide us with to provide to Synapse for the programming of your TCM is actually your VIN number. So I've already got this one programmed in, ready to go. We've got our batteries isolated right now. We just go ahead and pull our slide lock back there, and then push your two black tabs down there, and that disconnects the old TCM. Just slide the slide lock off. Trying to find a place. This truck is very, very clean, and everything on it is very, very slick. So you really got to watch it. So we just put our new TCM in here from Synapse, line it up, and then trip our bell trip, just like so, and then lock it down, and we're ready to reinstall it back in the truck. All we'll do is we'll fish it underneath of this upper radiator hose, and then we'll put our Christmas tree pin back in it, and then we'll be ready to go here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fish this right underneath of my upper radiator hose, just like such, and then get it about into position here. Kind of lock it in place. It does a good job of kind of staying there on its own. I got my new push pin here, and put it on our outboard side. Push this in, and there we go. Our TCM can't fall off, and we're good to go. So we should be able to fire the truck up now. We should have our prindle back, code should be gone, and we should be ready to go. All right, so we want to do show you, kind of everything back to square one here. So on our prindle, and so what Adam and I were talking about, remember, park, review, reverse, neutral, drive. You can see our little lines back showing us our indicator, what gear that we're in. Our ABS light and our brake light are back out. With this truck, and I'm sure trucks are going to be different, I had to back the truck up just a little bit and move it back forward. As soon as it saw wheel speed, that code went away. Everything is clear. We are good to go. Do a real quick, do a real quick scan of codes here. And we want to make sure that our U0101 does not come back, and we're good to go. So truck drove good. Like I said, I didn't do a relearn on this truck because, again, the TCMs are pre-programmed. They're set. The truck is going to adaptively learn as we drive along in the different driving styles that we have. So we're good to go there. So second part of this film, the actual ownership of Synapse is going to come down. They're going to sit down and talk to us about their rebuild process. We wanted to make mention inside of this is inside of the TCM box that you receive. There's going to be a core label to get the core back to us. Very, very important to do that. Just put the core back in the box, slap the label on it, send it back to us, and that way we can get it repaired and get it back out in the field and get these guys helped out here. So if you have any questions on this, give us a call. Again, we're going to flow into the second part of this with the guys from Synapse. They're going to kind of talk to us about the manufacturing process on these TCMs and what makes theirs better. All right, guys, we got the TCM installed on our 2010 Chevrolet. We had an awesome opportunity. This is John Bonus from Synapse, and he came up and they wanted to come in on the heels of our installation video and just talk to you about the TCMs and Synapse as a company and everything. I wanted to give a big shout out to my neighbor for allowing us to use his truck for the installation. I mean, it was great that he had a TCM failure, and it was pretty cut and dry. U0101, no comps to the TCM, and we showed you guys how to diagnose whether you had incoming power, switch power inside of it, where the TCM was located, how to get it off, and so on. Synapse partnered with us on this TCM video, and these TCMs, this is 2024, and we've just had a rash of these trucks with failed TCMs out in the field. Here at Thoroughbred Diesel, our B2B department, we had shops with 3, 4, 5 of these trucks in the parking lot with failed TCMs, and we just had 0 options for them. GM didn't have, they had discontinued the TCM. And you guys were pretty much one of the first ones to market with the remanufactured product and remanufacturing the correct way. And I'll let you talk about that. But you guys were instrumental in getting us out of those failures in these lots. You know, you guys had them at home. You didn't know exactly what was going on with the truck. If you're a DIYer, you know, the truck was in your driveway with these failed TCMs. So this whole deal with these TCMs from Chevrolet on these T14A50s has been a really, really bad deal. So I'm going to talk about the benefits of the Synapse TCM and ordering it from Thoroughbred Diesel. So first off, when you order this TCM from us, we are going to defer the core charge on it to you for 21 days. So get your core back and you don't have to worry about that core charge. We send these to you pre-programmed, ready to go, and we keep these on the shelf ready to ship out. So you get an order over to us, a pretty good chance it's going to go out the same day, or if not by next business day for sure. So get those down to you. So you guys that are needing to get these trucks back up and running, that's instrumental to you, because you don't have to worry about putting the TCM on the truck and then taking it somewhere and getting it programmed, having to pay for that, the logistics of getting the truck there. This is drop in, ready to go, ready to put on the truck. So, you know, we've kind of talked about this failure, John, and giving you all of the advantages of your all's TCM. Why don't you talk about the Synapse as a company and your manufacturing process, what you all found in these failures, and
Sure.
Take it away, babe.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So Synapse is a ISO 9001 company, so we have that certification. But our brand stands for quality. You know that through other products that we sell with you guys, and your customers know that as well if they've ever purchased a Synapse product in the past. But the Allison TCM, this is a huge opportunity to be able to provide a solution to the market, to be able to provide that solution at scale as well. Like you said, there's so many trucks down, and that's every man's issue that they run into. If their truck's not running, they can't get to work. They can't provide food for their family to be able to really do what they got to do. But the Allison TCM here is a good opportunity where we are able to provide a quality solution. Our remanufacturing process goes above and beyond just replacing components that fail and things to be able to get this truck back up on the road. One of the root cause analysis that we did at the very beginning is what's causing these failures. And it came down to significant heat as well as vibration and a few other things as well. So when we're doing our design for remanufacturing, that comes into effect with what we replace as far as components. We use upgraded components that have a higher temp rating so to combat that heat that these experience as well. We also go through and replace all the wire bonds that connect the circuit board to the housing connector on the internals there. That's one thing that differentiates Synapse from other remanufacturers is that wire bonding capability. If a business doesn't have that capability, what they're having to do is cut the housing in half, which you can see here on a couple of examples. They'll have to cut the housing in half all the way around. They cut the heat sink in half. You're losing some of that heat sink capabilities as well, which is going to make it worse, actually, when it's a lot of heat-related issues. So that's one thing that separates us from other remanufacturers as well. And the components that we're replacing is all of the BGAs. So there's 3 BGAs on this particular unit. We replace all of those with high temp rating components. We do all the wire bonding rework as well. So we'll take this completely apart, be able to access the front and back half of the board. We're going through and upgrading components that have a lower temp rating to match that temp rating that we want this product to have. And that helps to provide a quality product to the end user that's going to last longer than the OE.
Yeah, the wire bonding, just side note on that, I'm nerding out on this. I was watching some of that wire bonding process. That is one of the slickest things. So this is kind of what the connection that he's talking about between the pin out and the board itself. And that wire bonding process, man, they'll just go in and it's just like a spider weaving a web. Just so cool.
It's mesmerizing.
Yeah, it is. It's mesmerizing. And that's high quality. That's a high quality element that you all are using inside of there. So this is the Synapse TCM, and you can see how much more, and I'll kind of show those too, Adam. So, and let me say this first. So imagine spending several $100s on a TCM, and maybe it's not even pre-programmed. You still got to do it, but you bought a TCM that looks like this, has been cut in half, JB welded across it. I mean, that's no good. this is a Synapse product, and Grant can talk about this process here. That's probably one of the tooling operations that they did, was to get this case back on it and get it sealed back up. I mean, I'm sure that was a big investment for you guys as well.
Sure.
Yep. Again, the nice thing about these pre-programmed and ready to go on the truck, you guys are talking about the programming just a little bit. You guys are programming with the latest strategies, and you're going to continue to do that.
Exactly.
You know, as the years go by, you all are going to make sure that this has got the most updated strategy inside these TCMs. My neighbor called me, absolutely loved this shift strategy, made a big difference in his towing as soon as we got it back to him. So that was another big advantage to it. So updated strategy is another advantage.
And that comes plug and play, ready to go.
Yeah.
You see how easy the install is.
Yep.
We want a product that matches that ease and
Yep.
that convenience for you. So it's plug and play, ready to go out of the box.
Yep. So when you purchase this from Thoroughbred Diesel, this is a no core charge product. 21 days, we get you get the core back to us, and we need the core back because we need to continue this remanufacturing process, because this is the lifeblood of this for the guys at Synapse. This is pre-programmed, ready to go on the truck. If you're sitting in your driveway, you don't have to haul the truck somewhere and get it programmed. You don't have to pay for that programming. These are pre-programmed, ready to go. They are made by one of the best remanufacturing companies out there that remanufactures the product to the highest standards, to an ISO 9001 standard. So that is another huge advantage. This is a cost-effective product out there to get you guys going. You guys that have got shops, or B2B customers that are out there, if you've got 2 or 3 of these trucks in your out there in your lot, we can get these to you quick and get these trucks turned around and get them off your lot and get you guys going. So another big thank you to John for coming up from Greenville and talking to us about these TCMs, the failures, and just giving us a better idea of what's going on out there. So if you guys have any questions about TCMs, Allison failures, Synapse, whatever it is, just give us a call, and thanks for watching.